The grand hall of the Galactic Council buzzed with voices from 100 different species. Tall, short, scaly, furry, all types of aliens filled the room. At the center stood a lone human, Ambassador James. His face showed no emotion, but his hand gripped his data pad too tightly. This was the final meeting. 3 years of talks had led to this moment. The Council has reviewed Earth's request for full membership, announced Head Counselor Dren. His blue skin wrinkled as he frowned. Once again, we must deny this application. James took a slow breath. Humans had saved the galaxy from the plague of Raxus. They had fixed the failing jump gates. They had even created faster ships that cut travel time in half. And still, the Council treated them like children. May I ask why? James kept his voice calm. Counselor Vex laughed, her 4 eyes blinking in sequence. Your species is too young, too unpredictable. Perhaps in another century or two. The other council members nodded. They had made up their minds long ago. James stood straight. His brown eyes swept across the room. I see. He reached for the silver pin on his chest, the mark of an official galactic representative. In one smooth motion, he removed it and placed it on the table. The room went silent. Negotiations are over, James said quietly. As of this moment, humanity withdraws from all galactic affairs. Dren's mouth opened in surprise, then curved into a smile. You cannot be serious. Your people need our trade routes. Your colonies need our protection. We needed fair treatment, James corrected. We needed respect. We got neither. Laughter rippled through the chamber. A small, insect-like council member chittered. What can one species do against the United Galaxy? This is a child's tantrum. James did not respond to the insult. He simply turned and walked toward the exit. The massive doors swung open for him. You'll be back within a month, called Vex, begging for admission. The doors closed behind him with a heavy thud. In the privacy of the human embassy, James activated his secure communicator. Admiral Kate's face appeared on the screen. Her gray eyes were sharp, her short hair neatly trimmed. How did it go? She asked, though her expression showed she already knew the answer. Exactly as expected, James replied. They laughed us out of the room. Kate nodded once. Then it's time. Are you sure we're ready? We've been preparing for 3 years, James. The moment they started blocking our technology patents, we knew this day would come. James looked out the window at the alien capital city. Towers of crystal and metal reached toward the 3 moons. It was beautiful, and soon no human would walk its streets. Send the message, he said. Protocol Exodus is now active. Kate's image disappeared. James stood alone, watching the alien world that had rejected humanity's hand in friendship. On the human flagship *Determination*, Admiral Kate sent the coded alert to every human ship, colony, and outpost across the galaxy. Negotiations failed. Implement Protocol Exodus*. She watched as confirmations flooded her screen. Thousands of responses, all the same. Understood. Beginning withdrawal. Her second-in-command, Commander Scott, approached with a data tablet. It will take approximately 3 months to retrieve all our people and technology, he reported. And Earth? Kate asked. The engineers say they're ready. The planetary engines have been tested. They can move when ordered. Kate nodded, looking at the star map. Thousands of dots represented human locations scattered across the galaxy. Soon those dots would vanish, one by one. They think we're bluffing, she said quietly. They think we need them more than they need us. What happens when they realize they're wrong? Scott asked. Kate's lips formed a thin line. By then, we'll be long gone, and they'll have plenty of time to regret their decision. She pressed her hand against the view screen, looking out at the stars. Begin the countdown. Humanity is leaving the galaxy. 1 month after Ambassador James walked out of the council chamber, strange reports began to spread across the galaxy. Human trading posts closed without warning. Research stations emptied overnight. Ships disappeared from their usual routes. At first, no one worried. Humans were known for their odd behaviors. They'll be back, Head Counselor Dren assured everyone. Their economy will collapse without our markets. But as days turned into weeks, the pattern became impossible to ignore. Tom, the only council member who had voted in favor of human membership, stared at the latest reports. His scaled skin darkened with concern as he read. The reptilian counselor had studied humans for decades. He knew what the others refused to see. Humans never made empty threats. He called an emergency council meeting. "We have a serious problem," Tom said, standing before the gathered leaders. "Humans aren't just sulking. They're leaving. For good." Vex waved her four-fingered hand dismissively. "Let them go. What's one species among thousands?" Tom activated the central display. A galaxy map appeared, with red dots showing closed human facilities. 3 weeks ago, he said, pointing. The map showed scattered red dots. 2 weeks ago, more dots appeared. Today, the map lit up with red markers across every sector. The council chamber fell silent. "Over 90% of human outposts have shut down," Tom explained. "Their embassy staff are leaving on the last ships tomorrow. I tried contacting Earth directly. All channels are closed." Counselor Dren's blue skin paled. "This is just a negotiation tactic." "No," Tom replied. "This is exactly what they said they would do." In the council's analysis center, a young data specialist named Mark pushed his way past security. His tentacles clutched a data pad as he burst into the council chamber. "Forgive the interruption," he said, breathing hard. "But you need to see this now." He connected his pad to the display. New information appeared. Resource extraction data, shipping manifests, population movements. "Humans haven't just been closing facilities," Mark explained. "They've been systematically retrieving their people and technology for months, since before the final negotiation. Over 99.8% of humans have already left council space." The council members stared at the data in disbelief. "And the remaining humans?" Tom asked quietly. "They appear to be gathering specific resources," Mark said. "Rare metals, quantum crystals, void essence. Then they leave too." Vex stood up angrily. "This is ridiculous. Where could an entire species go? They need our protection from outer threats." Mark looked uncomfortable. "That's the other thing. Our long-range scanners have detected unusual energy signatures around Earth's solar system. Something big is happening there." 2 days later, the last human embassy in the galaxy closed its doors. No formal announcement, no grand gesture. The staff simply boarded their ships and departed. A single package was delivered to the council chamber. Inside was a small holographic projector. When activated, it displayed a simple message floating in the air. "We tried. You failed. Goodbye." On the council homeworld, Tom walked through the abandoned human embassy. Empty desks, blank screens, silent halls. In the ambassador's office, he found a personal note addressed to him. "You understood, but one voice wasn't enough. Don't try to follow us. What we build now, we build alone." Tom looked out the window at the stars. Something told him the galaxy had just made the biggest mistake in its history. Aboard the flagship Determination Admiral Kate watched the final human transports dock. The last citizens from across the galaxy have been retrieved. "Status report," she ordered. Commander Scott checked his screen. "All personnel accounted for. All critical technology recovered. Earth is ready." Kate nodded. "Send the final message to the planetary engine control." "And if they try to follow us?" Scott asked. Kate looked at the galaxy map one last time before it blinked off. "They won't find us," she said simply. "Activate the engines. It's time for humanity to disappear." Deep beneath Earth's surface, massive engines roared to life. Slowly, impossibly, the entire planet began to move. 6 months after the last human ship disappeared, the galaxy faced problems no one had expected. It started small. The faster-than-light communication network developed strange glitches. Messages arrived late or not at all. Some star systems couldn't be reached. "What's happening to our network?" demanded Head Counselor Dren during an emergency meeting. A nervous technician explained. The system was built with human components. Their engineers maintained the key junction points. Without them. "Fix it," Dren ordered. But no one knew how. 2 weeks later, medical centers across the galaxy raised alarms. The cure for blue-scale disease, a treatment developed by human doctors, was running out. Production facilities were failing without human oversight. On the mining world Karis, riots broke out when shipments of Earth metals stopped arriving. 3 major manufacturing hubs shut down completely. The Council called an emergency session. The chamber, once filled with confidence, now buzzed with worry. "This is worse than expected," said Tom, his scaled face grim. "Humans were integrated into our systems more deeply than anyone realized." "They did this on purpose," Vex accused, her 4 eyes blinking rapidly. "They sabotaged us." Tom shook his head. "No, they simply built things that worked, maintained them well, and then left when asked to. We did this to ourselves." Counselor Lisa of the energy-based luminous species floated forward, her glowing form dimmer than usual from stress. "My analysis team has completed its investigation," she announced. "Humans held key positions in 23 critical systems across the galaxy, not as leaders, but as essential workers, engineers, doctors, scientists, technicians." She displayed a galaxy map with flashing red zones. "These are the failing systems right now. And these, more areas turned yellow, will fail within 1 standard year without human expertise." The council chamber grew silent as members stared at a map increasingly covered in warning colors. "Did they plant bombs? Sabotage our systems?" asked a small, insect-like council member. "No," Lisa replied. "They simply created things that only they fully understood how to maintain. They offered to teach us many times. We refused, saying their methods were too primitive to be worth learning." Dren's blue face had turned almost white. "We need to contact them. Immediately." The council authorized a diplomatic mission to Earth. 3 ships, their best diplomats, and generous offers. After 2 weeks, the ships returned. The captain looked shaken as he reported to the council. "Earth is gone," he said simply. "What do you mean, gone?" asked Vex. "Gone. Not destroyed. Missing. The entire planet, the moon, all orbital stations, everything. Just empty space where their solar system should be." The council exploded into chaos. In his private quarters, Tom reviewed the ship's sensor logs. He paused on an image captured at the edge of Earth's solar system, a small blinking device floating in space. He enhanced the image. It was a simple beacon, transmitting the same message over and over. "We wanted to be friends. You chose to make us strangers." Tom sat back, feeling a chill. In all his years studying humans, one trait stood out. They never made threats they couldn't fulfill. And they had just demonstrated the ability to move an entire planet. In the Medical Research Center on Proxima Station, alien doctors struggled to replicate human treatments. Nothing worked. Cases of blue-scale disease doubled, then tripled. "We need human researchers," one doctor admitted. They were close to a permanent cure before they left. His colleague pointed to an empty lab. "That human doctor, what was her name?" "She left all her notes, but they're filled with human intuitive leaps we can't follow." On the desk was a small note. "Could have shared this knowledge. Still can. Your choice." Aboard the flagship *Determination*, now traveling through unknown space, Admiral Kate received reports from their monitoring beacons left in Council territory. "The communication networks are failing faster than expected," reported Commander Scott. "Their medical systems are in crisis." Kate nodded. "And their diplomatic mission returned empty-handed, as planned." Kate looked out at the stars. Unfamiliar constellations in a region no council ship had ever mapped. "Do you think they've learned their lesson?" Scott asked. Kate's expression remained neutral. "They're beginning to. But the real test is still coming." Behind their ship, Earth traveled through space, surrounded by a fleet of thousands of human vessels, moving towards something the Council couldn't imagine. 1 year passed. The galaxy struggled without humans. Systems broke down. Diseases spread. Trade routes became unsafe. The Council finally admitted they needed humans back. "We must find them," Dren announced to the Council. "Whatever it takes." Captain Robert, the best scout in the fleet, was given a mission: find Earth and bring back humans. The Council gave him 20 ships and the best tracking equipment available. "Search everywhere," ordered Dren. "Offer anything they want." Robert nodded. He was older than most captains, with gray hair and eyes that had seen many worlds. "And if they don't want to be found?" Dren had no answer for that. Captain Robert's fleet traveled to the edges of known space. They followed every rumor, every strange energy reading, every possible clue. On a small trading outpost near the outer rim, they heard stories of strange ships passing through months ago. "Human ships?" Robert asked the station manager, a 6-legged alien with glowing spots. "Maybe," the alien replied. They didn't stop to talk, just passed through the jump gate heading toward the dark sector. The dark sector was a region of space with few stars and dangerous radiation. No one went there willingly. Robert's science officer scanned the jump gate records. "Captain, these energy signatures match human engines, but they're different, more advanced." Robert studied the data. In just 1 year, human technology had already changed. What else had they been working on in isolation? On their 3rd month of searching, Robert's fleet found an abandoned human mining outpost on an asteroid. It was empty except for a single automated beacon repeating a message: "We wanted to be allies. You chose to make us strangers." "They left these breadcrumbs on purpose," Robert told his crew. "But are they leading us somewhere or just reminding us what we lost?" His second-in-command looked troubled. "Sir, it almost feels like they're watching us." Robert nodded. "I think they are." Back at the council chamber, frustration grew. Vex slammed her hand on the table. "It's been a year. How can one species just disappear?" Tom remained calm. "We underestimated them." Again. A guard entered and whispered something to Tom. He stood up quickly. "Excuse me. I need to attend to something." In his private office, Tom found a hooded figure waiting. When the figure removed their hood, he was shocked to see a human face, a woman with dark skin and sharp eyes. "My name is Maya," she said. "I'm what humans call the archivist." Tom's scales rippled with surprise. "You stayed behind." Maya nodded. "A few of us did. To watch, to record what happened after we left." "Where is Earth?" Tom asked. "Where did your people go?" "Far away," Maya answered. "To a place we call the Sanctuary." She activated a small device that projected a 3D map of an unfamiliar region of space. "We've relocated here, beyond the reach of the Council." Tom stared at the map. "Why are you telling me this?" "Because you were the only one who voted for us," Maya said simply. "And because I need to deliver a warning." She leaned forward, her voice low. "Humanity offered friendship and was rejected. Now we build our future alone. Do not follow us. The consequences would be unfortunate." On his flagship, Captain Robert received new orders from the Council. "Abandon the search. Return immediately." "Something's happened," his second-in-command said. Robert nodded. "And whatever it is, it scared them." As his fleet turned back, Robert noticed a small ship watching them from the shadow of a distant moon. A human ship. When it realized it was spotted, it disappeared in a flash of light, moving faster than any ship he had ever seen. "They've been advancing their technology," Robert whispered. "Not just hiding. Preparing." "For what?" asked his second-in-command. Robert had no answer, but the look in his eyes said he was afraid to find out. In the sanctuary, hidden from the galaxy, Admiral Kate reviewed the archivist's report. "They're searching for us," Commander Scott said. "Let them search," Kate replied. "We have more important things to worry about." She turned to a massive view screen showing a dark mass moving at the edge of their sensors, something huge approaching from the depths of unknown space. "How long do we have?" she asked a nearby scientist. 2 years, maybe less," he answered. "The void swarm is coming, just as we predicted." Kate's face hardened. "Then we continue as planned. The galaxy ignored our warnings. Now they'll face the consequences." 3 years after humanity vanished, a new danger appeared at the edge of the galaxy. The long-range sensors on Outpost 87 detected it first, a massive, shifting cloud of darkness moving between the stars. Within days, the outpost went silent. When scout ships arrived, they found only debris. The council called an emergency meeting. Fear filled the chamber. "What is this new threat?" demanded Dren, his blue skin pale with worry. The head of Galactic Defense showed the sensor readings. "We're calling it the Void Swarm. It appears to be a collective of biomechanical entities. They consume everything in their path, ships, stations, even small moons." "How do we stop it?" asked Vex. "We don't know yet. Our weapons barely slow it down." 2 weeks later, the Void Swarm destroyed its first populated world. 5 billion lives gone in a day. The defense fleet barely escaped to warn others. Tom watched the recordings with growing horror. The swarm moved like a living cloud, breaking into smaller units to surround targets, then reforming after feeding. "This seems familiar," he muttered, searching through old files. What he found chilled him to his core. A report submitted by human scientists 20 years ago. It described exactly what they were facing now, with detailed predictions of the swarm's path and behavior. The council had dismissed it as human paranoia. Tom rushed to the council chamber, interrupting an ongoing session. "Humans knew," he shouted, displaying the old report. "They warned us about the Void Swarm decades ago." The council members stared in shocked silence. "They didn't just leave because we rejected them," Tom continued. "They left because they knew this was coming, and we wouldn't listen until it was too late." As 3 more worlds fell to the swarm, panic spread across the galaxy. The Galactic Defense Fleet, once the pride of the Council, proved inadequate against this new enemy. "We need better weapons," Dren admitted in a closed session. "We need human weapons." After hours of debate, the Council made a unanimous decision. They would formally apologize to humanity and request their return. They drafted a message offering unprecedented concessions, full membership, leadership positions, anything humans wanted. The message was broadcast on all frequencies, sent through every jump gate, carried by special ships to the furthest reaches of space. "Please," it concluded, "the galaxy needs you." For weeks, there was no response. The Void Swarm continued its advance, consuming 2 more worlds. Then, without warning, a single human appeared in the council chamber. A man in a simple uniform stood before them, older, with a weathered face and sharp eyes. Commander David of Earth's Defense Forces. The council members stared in shock. "How did you get in here?" Dren finally asked. "That's not important," David replied. His voice was calm but carried authority. "I'm here because you called." "Will humanity help us?" Vex asked, her 4 eyes blinking nervously. David studied them all silently before speaking. "You misunderstand. We didn't leave because we were angry. We left because we saw what was coming and knew you wouldn't listen until it was too late." He activated a small device. A hologram appeared, a detailed map of the galaxy with the Void Swarm's path clearly marked. It matched exactly what was happening now. "This projection was made by human scientists 30 years ago," David explained. "We spent decades trying to warn the Council. We were dismissed as primitive and paranoid." Dren's face showed shame. We were wrong. We admit that. Will you help us now? That depends, David said, his expression hard. Are you ready to listen? In the sanctuary, Admiral Kate monitored the meeting through Commander David's secure feed. Will they agree to our terms? Asked Scott, standing beside her. They have no choice, Kate replied. The Void Swarm has already destroyed 5 of their worlds. More will fall before we can mobilize. She turned to the massive view screen showing Earth, now surrounded by a shell of advanced defense platforms and shipyards building vessels, unlike anything the galaxy had seen before. Prepare the fleet, she ordered. It's time to show the galaxy what humanity has been building. The council chamber fell silent as Commander David activated another hologram. This one showed detailed plans for weapons, shields, and strategies specifically designed to fight the Void Swarm. For 30 years, humanity prepared for this threat, David explained. When the council rejected our warnings, we knew we had to prepare alone. Councillor Vex leaned forward. Is this why you left? To build these weapons? Yes, David said simply. The sanctuary isn't just a hiding place. It's a massive production facility. We've been building a fleet and weapons that can actually hurt the swarm. The council members exchanged worried glances. And you'll share this technology with us? Dren asked hopefully. David's face hardened. That depends on your answer to our terms. In a private chamber, David presented humanity's conditions to the council leaders. First, Earth receives full membership with equal voting rights, he said. Second, humans must be included in all future defense planning. Third, the technology restrictions placed on us are permanently removed. These terms are acceptable, Dren said after a moment of thought. I'm not finished, David continued. We will share our anti-swarm technology. We will help coordinate the defense, but we won't fight your battles for you. What? Vex's 4 eyes widened in shock. You would let billions die? No, David replied firmly. We will teach you how to save yourselves. The galaxy must learn to stand together without depending on humans to solve every crisis. Thom nodded slowly. Your people never wanted to rule the galaxy. You just wanted to be treated as equals. Exactly, David confirmed. This is your chance to prove you can be true allies, not just users of human innovation. As the council deliberated, a messenger burst into the room. The swarm has destroyed 3 core worlds. Millions dead, billions in danger. The council members looked at each other in panic. We accept your terms, Dren said quickly. All of them. Now please, help us. David touched a small device on his wrist. It's done, he said simply. Across the galaxy, something impossible happened. Human ships appeared near every major world and station, sleek vessels with technology far beyond what anyone had seen before. They hadn't been hiding in one place. They had been positioning themselves throughout the galaxy, waiting for the right moment. On the council homeworld, citizens looked up to see hundreds of human ships in orbit, ships that had somehow remained undetected by the most advanced scanning systems in the galaxy. How is this possible? Whispered Dren as he watched from the council tower. We've been advancing our technology while you weren't looking, David explained. What you see now is only a fraction of what we've built. In deep space, Admiral Kate commanded the flagship Vindication now revealed to be 3 times larger than any council warship. Her fleet moved to intercept the Void Swarm's main force. All ships in position, reported Commander Scott. Begin deployment of the Void Barriers, Kate ordered. Thousands of small devices launched from human ships, creating a network of energy fields designed to contain the swarm. On her screen, Kate could see council ships joining the formation, following the battle plans humans had provided, using modified weapons based on human designs. They're actually working together, Scott observed with surprise. Fear is a powerful motivator, Kate replied. But so does hope. She opened a channel to all ships, human and alien alike. This is Admiral Kate of Earth. Today we face an enemy that threatens all sentient life. We fight not just for humanity, but for all who wish to live free among the stars." She paused, looking at the tactical display showing the approaching swarm. "The Council failed us once. We will not fail you now. Together, we will show the Void Swarm what happens when the galaxy truly unites." The first wave of the swarm approached the barrier. The final battle was about to begin. The final battle against the Void Swarm took place near the galactic core. Thousands of ships from every species fought side by side with the human fleet. The space between stars lit up with weapons fire and the dark mass of the swarm. Admiral Kate stood on the bridge of the Vindication *, calmly giving orders as the massive ship cut through the enemy forces. The swarm's smaller units broke against the human-designed shields, while the larger clusters were surrounded and systematically destroyed. "Void Collapser ready for deployment," reported Commander Scott. Kate nodded. "All Allied ships, pull back to safe distance. Phase 3 is beginning." The combined fleet retreated, forming a defensive perimeter around the Vindication *. The massive human flagship moved alone toward the heart of the swarm. "Enemy concentration at 90%, Scott announced. "They're taking the bait." "Activate the Collapser," Kate ordered. From the Council observation post, the leaders of the galaxy watched in awe as the human flagship began to glow with strange energy. The Void Swarm surrounded it, sensing a threat. "What are they doing?" whispered Dren. Tom's eyes widened in understanding. "They're not just fighting the swarm. They're destroying it completely." At the center of the battle, the Vindication * released a pulse of energy unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. The Void Collapser, humanity's greatest weapon, developed during their years of isolation, created a cascading reaction that targeted the neural network connecting the swarm. The massive cloud of darkness began to break apart, not just damaged but systematically disintegrating from the inside out. Individual units lost connection to the whole, becoming easy targets for the waiting fleet. "All ships, move in," Kate commanded. "Target isolated clusters. Don't let any escape." The combined fleet surged forward, destroying the now vulnerable swarm pieces. Within hours, the battle was over. The threat that had consumed worlds was gone. 1 week later, Ambassador James returned to the Council chamber. This time, he didn't stand before them as a petitioner. He sat at the table as an equal. "Humanity has fulfilled its part of the agreement," James stated. "The Void Swarm is destroyed. Now it's time for the Council to fulfill theirs." Dren nodded solemnly. "Earth is granted full membership with equal voting rights, effective immediately." The formal ceremony proceeded with representatives from every species witnessing the historic moment. But when it ended, James had one more thing to say. "There's something you should all understand," he announced to the silent chamber. "During our absence, we could have built weapons to conquer the galaxy instead of saving it. We had the knowledge, the resources, and after your rejection, some would say we had the motivation." He looked at each council member in turn. "We chose to help instead, not because we needed you, but because working together is always better than standing alone. That is the lesson humanity hoped the galaxy would learn." 2 months later, Earth returned to its original position in space. The planet was now surrounded by a defensive shell of advanced technology, unlike anything the Council had ever seen. In the new Earth Embassy, Admiral Kate and Ambassador James looked out at the stars. "Do you think they understand now?" Kate asked. James watched the ships from a dozen different worlds moving peacefully through Earth's orbit. Council members visited daily, eager to learn and work with humans. "They're beginning to," he replied with a small smile. And that's enough for today. On the Council homeworld, a new monument stood in the central plaza. It didn't celebrate victory or power. Instead, it simply displayed words in the languages of every galactic species. True strength lies not in domination, but in knowing when to walk away and when to return. Beneath it, thousands of citizens from across the galaxy gathered daily, looking up at the stars with new understanding. The species they had once dismissed had become the one they now admired most. Humanity had returned, not as the petitioner they once were, but as the power they always had the potential to become.